The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome back to another episode of this lovely show. Today's show features a discussion of 1993's Addams Family Values. And joining me, a filmmaker, story coordinator, head writer for Something Scary, and film and theme parks journalist for ComingSoon.net and Sci-Fi Wire. I'm especially thrilled to welcome Sabina Graves.
Hey, Brandon. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to talk about the Addams Family Values.
Oh, yes, definitely. A film that definitely needs that talking about. So you and I, we met a couple years ago on Out Now with Aaron and Abe during the horror specials for women directors in horror. So that and I really liked your perspective. Like, I thought you were great on that. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have her on a thing. And then it takes like 2 years. I'm like, oh, here we go.
I mean, like the past few months have felt like 2 years. So
yeah, right. So it was like eight years ago. Well, because I looked, I was like, oh, we talked last year. I was like, oh no, it was 2 years ago. So
that is crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
So.
Whoa. But yeah, that was a really good show. Yeah.
It was a good. Those
fun
horror
to talk
specials.
to you about that.
Yeah, those horror specials are fun. So you let's talk about Something Scary. That's a thing you got going on right now. It's a podcasty YouTube, like animated YouTube channel, scary story thing. Like, what are the origins? Let's start with the origins.
The origin of that is it is a show that's created by Sapphire Sandalo, and she is an awesome horror creator and producer, super duper multimedia maven. And she worked with Snarled, the channel on YouTube, to bring this show to life. That was basically a multicultural storytelling home of, her sort of inspiration of, her inspiration was for her to tell like her culture's family stories and mythologies through animation, and also like hosting. So it's kind of like the Twilight Zone meets, What Are You Afraid of the Dark, in a way, where it's like campfire tales but from around the world. And she started that to honor her family and her culture, and it expanded because a lot of people started to write in about their stories and their families, sort of like mythologies and cryptid tales from like La Llorona to, there is like bathroom demons in some countries in many cases. So it's really fun because you have like, just a big wide range of horror to tap into. And she recently went to a different sort of channel, her own, and myself and the new host, Markia McCarty. She's an incredible performer, actress, writer, also producer. She's the voice for the new era of the show that I'm currently helping the show run. And we've been having a lot of fun bringing in a lot of like original content to it and our own monsters. And you can pretty much catch any episode that we do on that Something Scary show at the Snarled channel. We drop episodes like every Tuesday, and it's both animated. So we have like a main animated video story that's like our gem of the week. But the podcast version is that same story, but curated with 3 other stories in a sort of loose theme that kind of just ties it into like a good half hour of spooky tales to listen to.
Right. It's really fun. It bounces really well between like the narrator stuff, the video version that I've watched a couple of. Like, how many writers do you employ? Do you take the helm of it pretty much, or do you have a staff?
Well, for the moment, it's currently myself and Markia and our story editor, Dennis Culver. We've kind of just been like the main team for the past few months, but before, in the before times, we did have a really great stable of diverse writers from all over. We had Chris Courtney Martin, who is in the, film. She is a writer director, and we also he's a editor in chief of Creepy Kingdom, which is like a Disney but spooky sort of website and podcast, and he's also a filmmaker. We've had what tease on like spooky stories, and that's been a lot of fun, and we're hoping to like go back to that in the whatever is going on in the world.
We can, if we can. Do you take like outside submissions and like contract, or like we could take your story, or do people send them like randomly? Like you were saying, people shared their legends or tales, but did anybody like, hey, here's a script, Sabina, you want to take
a so the way the show works is we have our audience that they will send us emails of their like favorite myths or folklore, or just like creepypastas that they love, that they'd want to see us do a retelling of on the so we usually take something that's like really solid or that we really like vibe with, and we'll adapt that into our own in-house sort of style of script. But we do have, like there are so many like opportunities to bring in other creatives in like our field and stuff, and when we're able to, we love doing that for sure. But it is like it's like a good mix of all of the things.
Gotcha. So for one story that, what is like the production window from that, from like concept, writing, shoot, like how long do you have for each of them? Because I think people could look at those little 10-minute and not think much goes into it, but that's a lot of work for.
Oh yeah, no, it is a lot of work. We have an incredible team. We have Mari Carlson on animation, and Fitz Harris. He's our audio guy, and he and Studio 71 is like, I guess, our big network that's behind us. Ignore the disembodied hand that just passed by. Yeah, and we have like this really great team. The YouTube world is no joke, though. It is it's a lot of work, and the turnaround is very tight and stressful. And I've only been doing this for like a year, and it is, especially during quarantine times, can be a lot, creatively, and push you in many ways to kind of like get really crafty. But like our turnaround, I think 4 episodes are. For the podcast, it's like a week, and then we script almost every day, honestly, and try to like be at least a few weeks ahead, especially for the videos, to give like the audio and animation team time to like create the awesome visuals.
Yeah, and those visuals, they remind, like, I mean, it's like a flash style animation, or I don't know the appropriate term, but like I'm a big fan of like Doctor Who. And there's a lot of missing episodes from the 1960s because they used to just junk the tapes because they didn't know reruns would be a thing. So there's a lot of missing stuff, but they have audios from them. They've been animating, and it's that certain animating style that's similar. And I follow on with that, and that's an arduous process for them to get that just seconds done. So I mean, that's some tough stuff there.
Yeah, no, thankfully we have like an awesome producer, Gail Gilman. She is very encouraging and tries to like make sure that we have like as many resources as possible to like make it as cool and like just fun as it tends to be. We actually started jumping into more color animation in the past year, because before, like the style of it was mostly black and white with some flashes of like red, especially for like the horror or gore. Because although we are considered a young adult show, we're not a kids show. This is how we monetize,
Right, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it does lean into like horror for that sort of like demographic of young adults and like teenagers. So but recently we have done a bit more with color and animation, and even like sort of when our Marquia will be narrating, just adding a bit more texture to like the background. We just introduced that in this week's episode with one of our new sort of editorial audio team members. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. And I feel like an idiot. Like I was like, yeah, I like Doctor Who while I'm wearing a Doctor Who shirt. So I was like, right. So yeah, I had an episode where I was talking about Halloween stuff and I had a Halloween shirt on and I had a Halloween poster. I was in the background. I'm like, damn, embarrassing. But
I'm wearing a Dracula shirt.
There you go.
I realize I don't have like a Addams Family shirt. There isn't, I need to like go on T Fury or something and look for like a cool Raul Julia Gomez shirt.
That would be great.
I've been vibing off like, a lot of like the imagery that's come out. I did a podcast / panel recently for the Salem Horror Film Festival that was about figures in horror who were people of color who aren't as recognized as they should be for their contributions. And we talked about Raul Julia, and he played Dracula on Broadway. So I'm like, this is the closest thing I've got.
There you go. We need to get like fright rags on that. Ben.
Yes.
Get on it. Do it. Addams Family.
Have you seen some of those promo shots of Raul Julia in Dracula? Like,
probably, but it's not coming to mind. But I just imagine like yes, it works perfect.
It's iconic and wonderful, and also the costume and set design was done by Edward Gorey.
Oh crap! Did Julia go mustache for that, or did
no mustache?
Oh, no mustache. Okay,
clean shaven, lovely billowy 70s hair. And like fantastic, fabulous capes. Like, that image needs to like happen. And
oh gosh, did someone record it? Like, is there a full?
Oh my gosh, I hope so. Like there's always that fabled Broadway vault where
yes.
At some all of these cast recordings do exist at some place,
right?
Like, there's always like, oh, there's a recording of Wicked with Idina and Kristen Chenoweth or whatever that's like in a vault that's never coming out or whatever. And then but I don't know how far back does that go, and I really do hope that there is a Raul Julia Dracula
bank in some like Broadway streaming service for this, like just Broadway shows, like unearthed videos. I mean,
they could be making so much money right now if they just released those videos, and they're closed. So it's like, just
you're like, Dracula, who do I want to be in it? I want this person. I can just scroll down.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that'd be great. Speaking of great, I'm going to talk about a short you made called Tahuti a while back.
Oh yes. My little film child.
Your little film child. Was this a proof of concept thing? Was it just imagined as a short?
It was actually just imagined as a short.
Okay.
My husband and I we're also creative like partners. So we had been wanting to make something for a while, and we kind of like fell into obviously dating and then like our relationship. And it was after, he and I like started it started, obviously us grabbing coffee, like, oh, let's create something. And then we, ended up falling in love. And, but Tahuti was born out of a interesting story that he shared with me about his mom's childhood. So she had an imaginary friend that her father would like drive around like in Texas, and they would go through like the wilderness or whatever. And when the radio would go away, she would say that her imaginary friend took the sound away. And I was like, that sounds legit.
Right.
As well. And I was like, I used to like go tunnels like with my dad, like here in LA or like through the mountains, and I'd hold my breath to make a wish it'll come true. And so we kind of fused those two ideas together and was like, what would happen if you didn't hold us? We can go through a tunnel and then like kind of like entity and kind of was the proof of concept of like a family friendly but like scary sort of idea.
It gave me like Lights Out vibes with it, kind of in that realm, definitely. So maybe they can take that
for
and be like,
sure.
there's our sequel right there. We'll do Tunnel
I
Vision, Lights
love
Out
David
2.
Sandberg and his wife Lotta. They're an awesome like creative director producer team.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually like making really big things now, which is amazing.
Right. I loved Shazam. It had all his sensibilities and stuff to it, and that's kind of where I came into it. I was like, oh wow, this really felt like him for a lot of it. So, are you there?
Oh yes.
Okay. Just you froze for a second. I didn't
I'm
hear
here.
the audio. Okay.
Experience.
All good.
No. Okay.
All good.
I think
all
we're
good.
I think we're back on.
We can push through it. I've got a freeze frame, but your audio is good, so it's okay.
Okay. Cool.
All good. All good.
But yeah, no, Tahuti was a blast.
No, I really like it. People can dig it. I'll link it somewhere in the show notes for sure for people to check out. All right. So we will move on to Addams Family Values. So Addams Family Values is directed by Barry Sonnenfeld and it stars Angelica Houston, Rob Julia, Christopher Lloyd, Joan Cusack, Christina Ricci, Carol Kane, Jimmy Workman, Carol Stricken, David Krumholtz, Peter McNichol, and Christine Baranski. And it features the Addams family trying to rescue their beloved Uncle Fester from his gold-digging new love, a black widow named Debbie. So, Sabina, you selected this film to discuss, and I can't tell you how grateful I am that I came to you with, it was like, what movie would you, Addams Family Values? Pretty much. So I enjoy the movie, but two, you were like laser focused on your pick. And because most like my guests have been like, oh, I don't know, maybe I could do this and then this and this. Or could you send me a list? Or how about narrow it? And you were just like, boom. So let's start with why'd you pick this one to go over with or to talk about?
Yeah, to be completely honest, because I had been the panel for the Salem Horror Film Fest where I kind of dug into a lot of Raul Julia history and history about the Addams family. And I was like, there's so much stuff I have learned that people really need to know. And these films are just so incredible. I think one of like the first big major franchises to really come out of genre. That kind of like broke through the you know, sort of barriers that like, you know, oh, horror, like, you know, it you know, you have all your Nightmare on Elm Street movies, or you have the Friday the 13th films. They kind of just stay in the genre or whatever. And the Addams family kind of truly, you know, took something spooky and made it very mainstream in a time where that hadn't exactly happened. I think with like scary stuff specifically. I mean, and obviously that's, you know, due in part to the legacy of the Addams Family cartoons and the TV show. But then just the performances in it really kind of just raise it up to a whole new level.
Right. And it's competing at the same time with the Munsters. So you had both similar vibes of like, let's take something scary and make it wholesome-ish more to the family. And both of them instantly iconic. But that was a lot of this. I mean, 60s TV was just like every show we all remember that era. But yeah, the Addams Family, they ran the same time, and yeah, there was something with it. Like, you know, there was Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, but then this was just adding a comfort level to these monsters almost. So it was like family. It still looks spooky. I mean, like the settings were perfect. I mean, they didn't try to make it happy. They were just like, okay, these people are goofy within, and they look scary, but their behavior and actions is goofy within this complete horror realm.
Yeah, and like completely endearing. I know that when they did the first movie, they were very nervous about how this was going to play in like a big sort of stage in cinema, and how they kind of just brought all that they had with it. And in many interviews that I was watching with Raul Julia, he was saying like, you know, when the first time out, we just kind of just gave it our all and did our thing and you know, hoped, you know, that people would love it. And we were really surprised at, you know, at how quickly the Addams Family was embraced.
Yeah, and because the Munsters had a bunch of like revival attempts, but I don't think the
Mhm.
Addams Family really did till. I mean, it had Nick at Night
Yeah.
probably, and I mean, you go to an athletic event, it's played. It's got the ultimate call and response theme song, but
Yeah.
some organ player would play that da 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 to get the crowd going. But aside from reruns and that, I don't think there was any major attempt at bringing it back. Was there? I can't remember, but I know there was a cartoon Addams Family, and then jumped to these movies in the 90s, which was like not a sure thing, I guess, to them when they made the first one, which is strange because I'm like, I was younger then, but I was like, oh, that's a surefire hit. And it was, but apparently it had a bit of a messy production and
Yeah. There were some, there is a school of thought where people say that Addams Family Values is the better film, because it has more of a story, whereas the first Addams Family film was more inspired by the cartoon strip and kind of like, these vignettes of these characters just brought to life. My earliest memory of the Addams Family, I think, was going into a McDonald's as a child. And there was a VHS release of the first film that was available.
I had that same one.
Yes.
I used to get tapes from McDonald's. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. You remember.
My favorite. Okay. So my favorite thing was I don't know if it was that year, but there was one year where all the tapes had the Magic Johnson and Arsenio Hall, The Truth About HIV, AIDS, and You. Played before everything, and it's like I remember that commercial. I did a high school video where I had a little parody thing about that commercial because it was just like the most stereotypical PSA looking thing where they even like looked at each other funny. But the McDonald's tape. It was one of their that one, like Wayne's World, Mr. Mom. I'm remembering McDonald's tape.
Yeah, I think wasn't there even like Back to the Future? I think I got Back to the Future and E.T. as well from McDonald's, and like those were.
And they were like cheap. You get like a meal for like $4 when you pay 20. They're probably on low quality tapes compared to what you get in the store. But I remember that. I don't think did they have any like contests or like Happy Meal things with them?
I don't remember that, but I just have like that very vivid memory of getting the Addams Family at McDonald's.
Right. Yes. Oh gosh.
I think that was like a probably a way for, it to be so much more accessible. Like when the sequel came around, probably.
True. Yeah. And this sequel, which you mentioned, like a lot of people, I mean, it's considered, and even on the first episode of this show, we mentioned that this sequel was superior because I guess Scott Mendelson from Forbes, and he's the author of the term the Tomb Raider trap, where a superior sequel underperforms at the box office because of reaction to the first one. And so he started that because he likes Tomb Raider, the Cradle of Life better than the first Tomb Raider, but that one like bombed while the other one did a lot of money. So he calls it the Tomb Raider trap. And he mentioned he was like, Addams Family Values is one of those. Like Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. There's a history of these films that better made sequels to a disappointing original, but the people are like, ain't gonna be fooled again. But this is considered one of those, though. I mean, the first one made almost 200 million the box office, and this one did like not even 50. So there was maybe they were just maybe it was just like, oh, I'll see it once. But this was back when like a franchise IP was, we're taking an old TV show and making the movie of it. And we saw with like the Flintstones, like all sorts of things. And this was just one of those natural ones. And so this is what today, you see all these remakes or reboots of things. This is that version of back when the 90s was, because that was the ultimate, I guess, like, I don't know, the ultimate, you were a great show recognition was, we're going to make the big budget movie of you. And so it was a hit. So you make another one.
Which is crazy because I think that I sent you this selection before the announcement of the Tim Burton revival of the Addams
Relevant
Family.
Podcast now. Relevant podcast. Yeah, that's true. And he was originally attached to the first one, but which seems like super obvious, but and it looks like it looks like a movie he could have done, which Sonnenfeld kind of his stuff kind of feels Tim Burton. Like if there's supposed to be like a Tim Burton light, some of his work kind of feels in the realm of Tim Burton. But yeah, he was supposed to do this, and then no. The TV show he wound up doing was Dark Shadows, which feels in his wheelhouse as well. But yeah, yeah, I was interested in what Tim Burton. I know a lot of people are like, this isn't the '90s Tim Burton, folks. I'm like, he's still somewhere in there. There is Tim Burton. I saw Big Eyes. I didn't mind the little like X-Men like one that he did a couple years ago. So
I am Miss Peregrine's Home.
Yeah.
For Wayward Children. I really enjoyed that one too.
Yeah. He informed he was my first like name director that I like followed when I was younger. So soft spot. Sorry, folks that like to hate.
Yeah, there are like I feel like with Burton, there are moments in a lot of the recent films that I really liked his choices.
Yeah,
I really liked his design on Dumbo. Was not terrifying,
right?
Right? Wasn't like hyper realistic and scary looking.
Yeah, his little fair area was cool as hell. Like I really liked where the final sequences and stuff were taking place. I was like, oh, that's some cool design.
Horror house maze. Oh, there's fireworks going on. I'm in LA, folks. I'm pretty sure that means the Dodgers have won.
Oh,
question mark. I don't know. I'm not a sports person, but
baseball
fireworks are going. I guess they won. Maybe I don't know. I'm also not good at sports. I'm like the IT crowd. I'm just like, oh, did you see this ludicrous display the other night? So,
who won the sports ball tonight?
I'm like pulling up Twitter. Like, let's see what is happening. Did they do the thing? Everyone is screaming. Okay, yeah. No, the first tweet I see is fireworks in every direction in LA right now. Seems the Dodgers won. Okay, cool. Go team. You won the bowl. No, the something.
World Series. I don't follow baseball, but yeah. Tune in for sports news with Brandon and Sabina. We got you covered.
Got you covered.
Stay for the Addams Family. So yeah, the movie, this one like instantly just to me, I watched them both in preparation to revisit again, and this one just feels like a little more comfortable in its own skin. I don't know, it feels a little different than the last time. There's like a confidence in it. It has like a more stylish look almost, and it's less of that, hey, Addams Family, but modern times, guys. Like that's I don't know, kind of my first impression. Like even when just once the movie starts, it feels kind of fresh and different. Like, oh, this is what we really want to do, but I don't know.
Yeah, totally. With the first one, I love putting it on for Halloween because it is very much a you can just sit and watch it and have fun. But you can also just have it on in the background, and it looks really cool if you're having like a party. Like in the before times when you're having like a party. But like, just have it be something that you could have on while pumpkin carving and like hanging out and stuff. And I tend to save the Addams Family Values for Thanksgiving, which is weird because the summer camp happens during the summer. So, but it has that very big subplot that culminates in that lovely Thanksgiving scene. So it kind of feels like it works.
Right. I usually watch Blood Rage on Thanksgiving night. It's my my annual thing.
Yeah. And going back to what you were saying about how it's more of a story, I think, and it is like a really awesome, like heartwarming story of a Black widow trying to tear your family apart. And the family coming together. I really love when at the end when Gomez is like, you're Mr. Debbie, and Fester's like, no, I am an Addams.
You missed it.
Mr. Debbie.
I do find it interesting in both movies they do. Fester is like the center of the story. The first one's about him coming back. This is about him going, and it's just an odd choice. Like it feels like the next time around, like, okay, which Addams do we focus on? We did a Fester thing last time. Let's do a Fester thing again this time. It's a little, they give the kids more to do their own sort of story, so that kind of rounds it out. But it's another, like, the central core idea is Fester in trouble again. It's just do they? I wonder if there's like, Lloyd's our guy. We've got something here. I don't. It it's kind of weird to me looking back. I'm like, wow, they picked Fester for both these.
Oh, for sure. And it's funny because it's like, it also feels like really relevant if you had a toxic mother figure and then you end up attracting someone who is also like similar to
right.
Like, that you marry like maybe a toxic version of a parent and stuff. Not everyone, but like, in that tropey sort of vibe where like, oh, of course, like, this is who he ends up with. Or just Joan Cusack just chewing up the scenery in this movie. You almost at some points just want her to be like, listen, you're not going to kill this guy. You guys are kind of made for each other.
Right.
And she just does not want to be an Addams. And like, it's so weird because even until the end, there's never any antagonism between the family and Debbie. And the each other. Morticia is basically like giving her so many compliments. She's like, I can respect that you're like, you have Esther like wrapped around your finger and like all these things that you're doing to him. Like, wow, I like that. But pastels,
Well, and this movie
and
feels
even
like
at the end when she like goes on her whole villain monologue.
Right. And it feels like the type of movie where it could end up in this twisted way where they're like, police are like, you want to press charge? They're like, no, she's an Addams now. And she's like part of them at the end rather than frying her into ash. But it feels like it could take that turn where it's like all this ridiculous evil stuff she did. And they're like, yeah, you're part of the family. You passed the test. That kind of feels like that. It could have gone
for sure.
way. And yeah, she
there was even a point where the grandmother is referencing like, oh, it's like I killed my first husband too, or something.
Yes.
Like, oh, it's your first? Like, but she undoes herself, which is really sad with the help of Hubert, the baby.
Hubert, which was apparently Pugsley's original name idea for the comic when they were moving them from comic to television and they didn't have names in the original comic and they put Hubert up for that and it's changed to Pugsley. So it was, I guess, a nod to that. But speaking of Hubert stuff, the humor in this one is much more dark and twisted than last. I mean, the other one had like horror kind of humor, but this is dark and in a weirdly charming and tasteful manner. Like it's like this is what they're pulling off here is pretty rare. Like to make it endearing. I guess I could see some parent taking their kid and getting mad about this movie, but come on. It's actually really deep and layered, and unless someone tells you, you might miss certain aspects of it that are absolutely just genius humor that I like in this movie.
Oh, for sure. It's funny because there was recently a tweet that went viral. A comedic writer, she made a fake script page of like an Addams Family script where she describes like, in the description, oh, at all times, Gomez and Morticia must be very horny for each other. I know this is a kid's script. Yeah, but and it's really funny because people really thought that was part of the script. They were like, yeah, I believe that this is what was on there because that is what you see.
Yeah.
It got to the point where the writer had to take down the tweet because she was like, y'all, I made this up, and there are screenshots that are living on Tumblr and Instagram that are being shared of like, this is the Addams Family script. And it's like, but,
oh gosh.
Honestly, with the writing, it works.
Yeah, no, it's totally, they are hot for each other. And one thing I like about them, and apparently Raul Julia was ill during this, but I can't tell. I know all his co-stars said he was, but I really like Angelica Houston, that she feels a bit more prominent in this one, and I love the thing they do with her lighting on her eyes,
just like on her eyes
the whole time. And one of my favorite gags is when they're going to Debbie and Fester's house to get Fester back, and she's standing in a spot in the shot, and she has to walk forward into a new one, and she walks, and the beam goes from her eye. She walks up, and it comes right back on her, and that was hilarious. Like it followed her up, and I was cracking up pretty good. That was a nice little technical gag there, but she's just dynamite here again with the role, which I can't believe she wasn't like a like you're it kind of choice. I think they have someone else before this. When they did the first movie, I think they might have had someone else, and then she was like second choice. But
yeah, but she is just so
can't think of anyone else
iconic in that role, and her and Raul Julia.
Oh yeah,
and really just everyone. I was watching one of the interviews during the early press junkets for Values, and Raul Julia was talking about how, in the comics, the characters of Gomez and even Fester, they were kind of like very subdued, more background, like, their family, like people, and kind of just sedate. But that, when they came on board, that both, Christopher Lloyd and Raul Julia really wanted to bring in more spontaneity to the characters. Christopher Lloyd with like his very off kilter performance that is everywhere all at once, and Raul Julia just being a Gomez who is still a family man, but like about living life to the fullest and like on the edge and so passionate. So it's great to kind of like see kind of like why the movie worked as well as it did through these performances, and even Angelica Houston as Morticia just nailing those lines.
Right. Yeah, I'm closing my eyes, picture Gomez and Morticia Addams, and that's where I go. Like they're that big of a staple to it. And the performances, just their chemistry, the performances, just they rule here. I mean, it's good stuff. And they're dancing.
Oh, the dancing.
Fire. For sure. I'll tell you one thing that actually surprised me that works so well, the baby humor, which could be kind of dumb, but I'm down with some of it. I mean, most of it. It works.
Yeah.
Like the little silly baby stuff. One of my favorite things is when they go to drop him off the house with the cannonball to see which drops first. And I love when the cannonball, it's a silly, simple gag, but it hits Lurch on the head, and just the kind of move it that Carol Strucken does, you just boom, and just this little like mild inconvenience. The way he plays it is awesome. Just that's really funny. I had that one down in my notes.
Yeah, no, I love a lot of the Pubert stuff, and when Pubert just inexplicably goes blind.
Yes. Yes.
It's sending Gomez into like the most bizarre existential crisis.
Right. And they have him. Yeah. You know what? I wonder, did they have those bed scenes so he could lay down and relax on set if he was ill? I wonder if that
might be,
I wonder if affected.
Yeah, no, I know.
Not to take it to a dark
very
turn,
much,
but...
you very much like played it like close to the chest in a way to kind of like, be very much be focused on his craft and stuff. And it's so even in some of the interviews during like the junketing sort of like era of it, you could kind of tell that there's stuff going on. But like he was still sword fighting, he was still doing the tango, and just absolutely killing it.
Yeah, and this was the last one that was released while he was alive that he got to see, and then I think posthumously Street Fighter came out.
Yeah,
which I remember everybody at the time was like, "That's his last movie." Oh my god! Like everybody was so bummed that he had to go out on Street Fighter. But
I know they were actually hoping for a third Addams Family. They're in interviews with Barry. He was talking about how like, oh, Paramount is like they're in on like a third one. We're excited, and we want to like go back to this world and with this family, and who knows what that could have been like. And just because I know that they did try like I think like two years later to kind of do
something with Tim Curry on TV or something.
Yeah.
Or straight to video. I can't remember, but yeah, like none of the cast came back. They like recasted everything. Yeah, they tried. I mean, they tried that in the Munsters have been tried to. They did that Jerry O'Connell one.
Yeah,
and-
Mockingbird Lane,
Yeah.
which I actually really liked that
yeah,
pilot.
it wasn't bad. Yeah, I did. I remember I got a screener of that, and I was like, that's not bad. And then it got held off for a while. I'm like, they have something decent here, but yeah. But yeah, that was. And then did they disappear until the recent animated movie? Can't.
Yes,
Yeah.
I want to say. Well, there was actually a Broadway musical that opened. That was also very much inspired by the original cartoons, but then also centered on Wednesday Addams falling in love with a normal human guy.
I saw a high
Yeah.
school production of it. A nephew was a crew member on it. We went and saw that. So, seen it via high schoolers.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like that sort of perspective. Bizarrely enough, the franchise that has been able to pull off that sort of Addams Family vibe, and that sort of like, you know, like cool female lead who kind of like falls in love with someone who's different than them is the Hotel Transylvania series.
Yeah, very much in that window. Which, yeah, I have kids. I've had to. I didn't mind the first one or second. It was the third one that was where they went on the cruise ship. That was like, oh, okay, you've cashed in your.
Yeah. I think, you know, Gendy was really set on doing that Popeye movie for a while, and then they were like, we want another Hotel Transylvania movie. And so
give it to us.
Give it to us. Franchise money. Yeah, no, I really liked the first two. The second one I also like. I thought the second one was really solid. I think I might even like that one more than the first one.
Yeah, because I saw it, and then I think we went to a sneak preview of the third one, and I was just like, my wife and I after, I was like, that was wow. Like, it felt like, when is this gonna end? We were fighting over refilling popcorn back when we could go to movies that weren't in our car. And but back to Addams Family. There was a gag I want to, before I forget it. I was mentioning deep and layered jokes. There's the Joel, David Krumholtz, the little mini Gomez or future Gomez.
Actually, bizarrely, there's an interview where Barry said that Joel is basically his avatar. Like, if he was Wednesday's age, he would have had a crush on her, and like, yeah. So he is basically.
Well, he plays his dad in there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god. But he has, so he's the serial killer cards that they have, and he's like, and he says, I have all of them except for Jack the Ripper and the Zodiac guy, which are the only uncaught killers that are in his deck. Like, so they haven't been caught in real life, and he can't catch the cards. So I thought that was a funny little nod there. That was there. And then another joke I liked. Debbie told Fester that no woman in her right mind could ever love you. So the woman that potentially is going to be with Fester at the end, her name's Dementia.
Yeah.
Nice little twofer there. But yeah, so there's really deep brilliance in this movie. I did have I watched this on Blu-ray, and which took forever to come out. Like, it was just like last year or something it finally came out on Blu-ray. No bonus features, double feature disc with the first one. And the makeup in some of these scenes was like a little sketchy or poorly lit.
Yeah. Like, I noticed that too, especially on Hubert.
Hubert's face would be splotchy. Sometimes
like super splotchy.
Wednesday looked really bad, and if you like in the attic scenes, I was like, ooh, that's kind of what's going on here. But yeah, that was a little interesting. I don't know if that would have shown on like a print or anything like that, but I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. But didn't win any awards for makeup either, I don't think. So there's that. That was one weird negative thing I guess I can bring up in a movie.
The costuming was incredible too.
Oh yeah, for sure. We haven't even talked about summer camp.
Summer camp.
Peter McNichol. And they actually, what's neat about they like go to summer camp, they leave summer camp to go to the wedding, and
then go back to summer camp,
which is funny. Which the wedding, real quick, I love when Lurch plays the Here Comes the Bride, but fits the Addams Family riff into it as she's coming in. That was a little neat touch. But the summer camp has like Mercedes McNabb, who's in the first one. I know her from Buffy and Angel. and like there's some twisted. This ends like really dark. The summer camp story, like, I mean, it's a
They
satirical
stuck
look.
them in the cabin to watch Disney movies. It
Right.
had to get dark, you know?
Yeah.
My husband and I were laughing because the first song that plays after they're like, you're going to be in this cabin quarantined and watching Disney movies. Oh my gosh, that's my life right now, actually. The first song that plays is The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music, which is
Right.
now a Disney movie. So they got one in there.
They got
'cause
one in
everything
there.
else afterwards was like Annie and like
Directed by Angelica Houston's father. Like that's,
yeah,
maybe that's
so,
yeah.
so hilarious. But yeah, no, they had that they had it coming, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice satirical look and spin on the kind Thanksgiving tale.
Yes, it is. It's the Thanksgiving tale to share this Thanksgiving.
Right, complete with flaming arrows and
Mhm.
all sorts of fun. Yeah, and of course, the movie ends with a nice little riff on Carrie, the hand coming out of Debbie's grave, to lead us to, I guess, a straight to video sequel for the film for the third one. But yeah, no, I really like this movie quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. My kids love it. That's great.
Yeah.
Big Addams Family nuts. They watch the old show. They watch this. They enjoy it. But I was happy you picked this one. It was nice little pick.
Of course, and it just there's so many. Just everyone is at the top of their game in this movie, and Carol Kane and
Yeah, she's a replacement too. She's new, and they don't waste her. Like I it's funny, you just all of a sudden notice Grandma's a bit more prominent in this one, and it's Carol Kane. You can't just sit and let her be in the background. Which she's only like what? She's not that much old. I mean, she's close in age.
No, she was like
Angelica
in full
Houston.
makeup. Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, that and like Joan Cusack's terrific in this, and just it is like Joan Cusack, like you've like never seen her before, almost. Like can't think of many roles where she's kind of like this, but I mean, still her quirks are there, but
the blueprint for like the Gone Girl sort of character.
Right? Yeah, definitely. And I like all her costumes, and then the guy on the TV, and those are funny bits. But I don't know. Do you got any more on Addams Family Values?
No, I think we touched on like a big portion of all the things. Yeah.
There we go.
Any scenes that we like missed? No, yeah. We talked about the cameo.
Oh yeah,
there's so many weird cameos too. Tony Shalhoub.
In
yeah, the bar.
Like, and then David Macho Man. Yeah, that's and David Hyde Pierce at the beginning, masked.
Nathan.
Oh yeah, Nathan Lane. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun. Yeah, this movie just and it's like got swift 94 minutes. Just back when you could crank out so much quality and not spend 2.5 hours on it, like, and it's all there.
Yes. In the before time.
Before times. Yes.
Before the 20-minute movie trailer chunk.
Yeah, I watched I watched House of Wax, the Vincent Price one, last night, and there was a spot, like it's an 88-minute movie, and it like stopped, intermission 10 minutes. I was like, what? The movie 88 minutes? What? Wow. Okay. Like it wasn't like 2
where am I going for 10 minutes?
Like, wait, no, you can continue to play the movie. It's okay. Like 10 minutes. Like, wow. Like we have 3.5 hour movies with no intermission. Like our bladders have evolved in that time, I guess. This is my takeaway. All right. So now we'll move to what else? So what else? This segment, we just talk about other things we have taken in recently, media-wise, like movies, books, music, or kind of stuff we've worked on, written, published, anything like that in the world. So, Sabina, what else?
Oh my gosh. I was really sad about, I mean, I still am really sad about Halloween not being what it's usually all about this year. I'm a big like LA haunt like sort of person, and write about the theme park stuff. So I usually review like Halloween Horror Nights or the Queen Mary or Not Scary Farm, and sometimes I'll go over to the East Coast and I'll go do Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights and stuff, which they've had like so many incredible mazes in the past few years. They did a Killer Clowns from Outer Space maze last year that was incredible. It was colorful. They had full just costumes that were very authentic to the film. Even people who might not have been aware of the IP, I think became aware of the IP through that maze, because every night my husband and I would go, we had the horror pass, so we had like basically an annual pass to the Halloween Horror Nights here in Hollywood. The line for Killer Clowns was always really, really long. And I was like, do they know the Killer Clowns? Like, I really hope that like they went home and tracked down the movie to watch.
Right. Yeah.
Such a fun film. So we were like hoping that they would either bring back the maze, it was that popular. But I know Orlando actually did open up daytime mazes, and they had a Bride of Frankenstein maze, as well as a Tooth Fairy maze, because over there they do original maze ideas, but then also they'll do IPs. But a lot of merchandise was actually released for Beetlejuice. In relation to Halloween Horror Nights. And basically it was an unofficial confirmation that both coasts were going to have a Beetlejuice maze. So
is that going to be next year maybe? Or
I mean, I really hope so. I actually had a friend who works at Universal Orlando. He sent me like a care package of like the Beetlejuice shirt and the face masks and stuff. So it got to the point where they made face masks for Halloween Horror Nights before they pulled the plug. But the masks for Beetlejuice actually didn't say Orlando on them. They just said Halloween Horror Nights 2020. So it kind of just leads us to believe that almost happened. But basically at home, I've made my at home decorative situation Beetlejuice inspired, and I've been doing a lot of things to try to keep the Halloween spirit alive. One of which was I wrote a song with my friend Annalise Nelson. She and I work on something scary. So like while being in that like big like push for Halloween content for the channel, we kind of just like, you're interacting with like your coworkers, and we're just like, we got to do something creative that's like different. And I'm very much inspired by like the weird horror acts that people in movies have done. So if you think about like Danny Elfman and Oingo Boingo, before he went all in as a film score composer, Ryan Gosling actually had a horror project as well, called Dead Man's Bones. And they kind of like just what they have contributed scary but fun dancey Halloween music throughout the years, that we kind of like, we have this catalog of just songs that get retreaded. It's also part of the reason why the Addams Family song is so well known, because it'll always come back on Halloween during like big public gatherings and stuff. So we wrote like, we're both into film and wanting to make movies, but we're like, let's just make a Halloween song, and we did. And that just went up. It's called Neon Plasma Poltergeist.
That's a great title. That's excellent.
Yeah.
All right. So that good?
Other stuff that I've been doing. Okay.
You don't have to. You'd be like, I'm done with that if you want. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I'm just blanking, but I do a lot of things.
I do the things.
Also,
I do the stuff.
I do the things. I do the stuff. Yeah. Oh, and yeah. So whole Halloween content list for Sci-Fi Wire of movies on Disney Plus that are actually scary or have elements that are just surprisingly adult, that are unexpected. And I include awesome selections like Mr. Boogedy and Mr. Boogedy, which also Addams Connection.
Yes, John Aston. I did that as an episode of my old show on Halloween. Yeah, we did that one. Yeah.
John Aston's in that, and I think my biggest recommendation is to watch Fuzz Bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Mick Garris did this really great Disney Channel original movie that is so off the wall, bizarre, and endearing, and you can't like peel your eyes away from the screen. But basically, a kid has an imaginary friend who is like a creature from the woods that's invisible, that no one believes him, and he kind of like acts out and has like, you know, preteen angst and stuff. But the most iconic scene in this movie is when Fuzz Bucket materializes.
Okay.
It is basically something that I just will pass on, like the ring chain curse, because you have to see it. But just know that after you've seen it, you cannot ever unsee it, and you will want to pass it on to someone else. It's incredible.
That's good. Those movies, like before Disney Plus, there was like nowhere to find a lot of those, and I really wish they put together like the Wide World of Disney or whatever with the Michael Eisner intros and stuff. Give it the complete package. When they do those, because it was funny when we did Mr. Boogedy for my old show Cult Cinema Cavalcade. I found a YouTube stream to watch it, and I had one that was taped the night it premiered and had the commercials in there too, and like it was just awesome to watch. I know they can't get all the commercials back to put in there, but it was fun to watch it with that experience, because it was like Tuesday night, season premiere of Perfect Strangers and the series premiere of Head of the Class and all this. I'm like, oh my gosh, those were together, and all sorts of stuff. But they really should bring back like the Eisner intros and stuff.
They should. They have it, you know.
Yeah, they should own the rights to that. They have ABC, they have Disney, and they have those movies. And there's like a treasure trove of like sci-fi, horror, weird stuff that they could really put out.
I got some comments on this article of people asking, "Oh, where's Something Wicked This Way Comes?" And I think there was another film as well that was a poltergeisty sort of like vibe movie. I'm blanking on the name right now, but yeah, they were like, "Where's that movie? And where's the Bradbury film?" And I was like, they just haven't released it on Disney Plus, so because I kept it to stuff you could actually like watch on the service. So, you know, it's like, you have these titles, why aren't you just putting them up there?
Right. Well, when Disney Plus started, one of the first ones I searched for was Mr. Boogedy, to be honest. And it had Mr. Boogedy, but they didn't have Bride of Boogedy yet. And now Bride of Boogedy has since been put on there. But there's a weird movie with Scott Bakula that they did one time that I don't know if it's on there or not. But there's just so much stuff that they could make a separate channel in there and be like Wide World of Disney and just pick a year, find a movie, and have those intros. That'd be really cool if they wanted to do that, but who knows? Because they all start really weird because they don't have an introduction. It's just like,
it's just like
fade in credit and first credit like,
title card. Yeah, it's like, I'm here.
There was something there before. But yeah. Oh, that's cool. I have to check out that article. That definitely interests me.
Yeah, so just trying to keep the Halloween spirit alive, in whatever way we can right now, and
we need it.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, it's just my year. Let's see, myself. What I have? I have tomorrow on whysoblu.com my annual Blu-ray wish list for 21 comes out. Do you collect Blu-rays or anything like that?
Yes, although I just moved recently and I had the most tragic thing that could happen.
Oh no, am I gonna cry?
My husband. You might actually cry, because it took me a while to cry over it because I didn't understand the gravity of the situation.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So my husband and I, we collect physical media. I as a person who's done press a lot, I used to get like digital codes sometimes, like when that started, and I hated it because I could never get them to load. Sometimes they wouldn't even work until closer to the release of the film.
Right.
Like, and I'd be like, no, just give me the physical disc. So
the 20th Fox screening room.
Yes. To like watch it,
yep.
At home. And because I think it was like Moana that I got like the digital code for it, and I just had the pinwheel of doom for forever because it wouldn't play and it wouldn't load. And I was like, I want to watch Moana. not okay. I was Taka. I was like, like, no, this is not cool. But yeah, no, my husband and I love collecting physical media. We became really obsessed with getting the steel books of things. We just like got like a recent really cool steel book of Mary Poppins. Yeah, like, and it's kind of like our thing. Like we were collecting all the DC films in the Target storybook sort of vibe, and then we were collecting our Marvel films in the steelbook from Best Buy. So that's been great, and we actually finally moved into a house that we have this office with bare walls, which is a foreboding sort of clue as to what's going to happen. And during our move, we packed up all our physical media. We had a giant case of just our library, and we each had our own sort of like smaller, softer cases of our favorite films. Because at our old place, we didn't have room to put it up. So we just like, okay, let's put these that are just streaming in a big bin. And then the ones that we just want to pull that are our beloved movies, like have just easy to grab. We had like those really cool under the bed shoebox containers that are clear on top.
Gotcha. The Johnsons are coming over. Get those ones and put them on the shelf.
Yeah. So we would like, we were like, oh, let's pick out like Front for the Wilder People or something like this. Just like pull it out of like right from under the bed, easy to grab and stuff. So we were excited to have like an office and do a media wall and everything. And in our move, we have so much junk. Somehow disappeared or was stolen.
Oh no.
We don't know what happened. It's the only thing that was taken. So
it feels targeted.
That's where we're very confused because we like, yeah, like we're kind of like, y'all have Netflix and Hulu. Like, we have, like we have PlayStations and Xboxes and like other stuff that I feel like might have been more of a target. I don't understand why the physical media was the target, but it's the only thing that was taken during the move. Like, but yeah, like we when I say that like, it didn't hit me until later, it was that I was like, well, at least we have our favorite movies, because we had separated our favorite movies that we do streaming services or whatever into like different cases. And there was something recently where I was like, I'm going to go grab this one movie and put it on. And Jonathan was like, that was in the bin. And I was like, what about this movie? That was in the bin. And I was like, oh, we lost all our movies.
I might struggle to go on if that happened. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was very bad.
See, like I'm the type, if someone comes to do like work or something in my house and has to be in my basement, like I put like a drape thing over just so they can't be, because a lot of people be, ooh, what you go? I'm like, I don't even want you looking. I don't even want you peering. What are you collecting for? Myself. I don't know. Gosh, that's horrible. Have you tried to like, hey folks, if you'd like to donate, we're missing this.
I mean, we've had some friends offer to kind of like do rips of some movies we like, but like we're both like very much about having the display and like special edition. So like maybe we do have like a couple places that we hit up for movies, besides like Target and Best Buy. We'll go to a place called CD Trader, which has like a lot of like used media. We'll probably end up going there and finding our library of things. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Like, because I like, why would people steal physical media? I don't know.
Unless you had some gems in there that
honestly,
it might be out of print.
We had very many gems there. Like, so. Yeah. That was like, welcome to the neighborhood. We take your physical media.
That's terrible.
Yeah. At some point, we're going to start our journey of like getting back our core collection of films that we love. And some of these new releases that are coming out are really cool to kind of like just continue that.
There you go. Yeah. Oh my.
They're gone, but not forgotten.
I'm heartbroken for you. Yeah, like my eyes, like I used to do, when I lived last night, I did Blu-ray and DVD quality control, so my eyes and ears are all attuned, so streaming can bug me sometimes when I see all the deficiencies. But yeah, so I guess anyways, after the tragic story, I write these wish list pieces. Ever since I started at whysoblue.com back in 2013, I just like usually a list of 10 films that haven't been on Blu-ray at all ever, not even anywhere in the country. So if it's in Taiwan on Blu-ray, doesn't make the list. You can get a region-free player, play it. So my annual list for this year comes out, and I chalk up which ones have come out in the previous year that have been on previous lists and stuff. And my new one posts tomorrow after the show. Yeah. And includes some like really surprising ones, like Girl Interrupted has never been on Blu-ray anywhere before. Like Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid, M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. Like I overlooked that, I guess. I would thought that would have been on there, but his film stopped at that one. They did Sixth Sense, Unbreakable Signs, and then just kind of stopped. And now it's a Disney film, and they don't put out old physical media now for the time being. So, and like Pink Floyd's The Wall, that's another one that I put on there. So if you want to see the rest, you can go to whysoblu.com and check out my list. So it's an exciting moment for me, I guess. And I always love people share their own as well. And I can guide people that put ones that are out where they can find them. So that's always a fun time for me. So awesome.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Where can I find The Creature from the Black Lagoon? Because it was on Peacock for like a cool minute, and then they took it out.
Oh, you want
I wanted to watch
for
it.
Streaming?
Well, either for streaming or to buy. Has there been a release of Creature from the Black Lagoon, similar to like the really nice Dracula, not Dracula, Bride of Frankenstein, like that style?
So either last year, either last year or the year before, they did Creature, and it came with the 2 sequels, and the 2 sequels were finally in their official aspect ratio of the 185 or 166:1. So because when they were on DVD, those 2 were in a crop format. But yeah, you can find that one. I think they've been all like $14.99 recently, most of those. But yeah, definitely that was
I almost bought the Amazon Day Universal Monsters collection. That was released.
I got lucky. I got that one for review. I got the whole, like, I it was one of those random things where it's like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And then I'm like, oh, I have to write every single, it's a monumental task to write.
Yeah. Cause they had the whole shebang.
So Creature from the Black Lagoon streaming is on DirecTV and on Watch Turner Classic Movies app for streaming. And then you can rent it, of course, everywhere and buy it digitally everywhere. So that's where you can find them. But yeah, that's a beautiful Blu-ray. And it has the option for 3D. I don't have 3D, but it does have that option. Love Creature. You know.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, that'll do it for today. Sabrina Graves, I'm endlessly grateful for your wonderful presence here. And please tell my listeners where they can keep up with your excellent work.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. This was such a blast. People can find me on Twitter at Sabina has no R. Everything I do ends up there. The links to the videos that I write on with my team, my articles, and just my silly ramblings of things go on there. And on Instagram, you can find me at That Lady Graves. I would often take pictures of my DVDs when I bought them, and like meticulous like collections and stuff of like really nerdy stuff and tiki mugs and fun spooky fashion that I like. There's a really cool cake-worthy line right now that's the Universal Monsters inspired that is amazing, and I have like some cool pictures of that while I was decorating my place for Halloween. But yeah, those are the places you can find me and say hello.
Excellent. Awesome. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. My written works at whysoblu.com. I'm going to mention today that tomorrow is election day. And if you're unable to vote early or by mail and have to brave the polls in person tomorrow, please be safe. Be mindful of others.
Yes.
Wear a mask and keep a safe distance in line and stay in line and don't leave till you vote. I'll be back tomorrow with another installment of 4K Blues Day. And as always, remember to keep the positivity in your online film chatter.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at thebrandonpetershow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail@thebrandonpetershow.com. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.